Hello, welcome to area of triangles. As a reminder, area is the number of square units it takes to cover a unit or a polygon. The perimeter, as a reminder, goes around it like you're putting a fence up around the figure. So right now we're going to be discussing area of triangles. Alright, so looking at the following parallelogram, what is the area? So as a reminder, we're doing base times height for our parallelogram. And so this is the figure I was telling you about. We have our base here of 15 and our height of 12. The diagonal is not a dimension we're going to be using for the height. The height has got to be a right angle, so it's got to be the 12 will be our unit we're going to be using. So it'll be base times height, which will be 15 times 12. So it's going to be 180 centimeters squared. So again, square units. And 13 will be used for perimeter, but not for the hot area. So looking at the same parallelogram, what happens when you divide the parallelogram in half diagonally? So this line, I think when I copied over it made a mistake, but this line should be running from corner to corner. So I apologize about that. So corner to corner. Okay, so how does the area of one of the triangles compare to the area of the parallelogram? So again, it's the line is going from here to here. So draw this figure in your notebook, but put the line going from corner to corner. So what happens? What is that area? What happens to this area compared to the whole parallelogram? Well, as you can see, the area is half of it. The triangle would be half of that parallelogram. So that's where the formula comes from. The area of a parallelogram is going to be 1/2 base times the height, because we have our base and height, and then we're going to divide it in half because that's what a triangle is. So 1/2 is base times height. So write those formulas. And this is another way you may have seen it, is base times height divided by 2. It's the same information. So 1/2 base times height, whichever one you're more comfortable with works for me, but record both of them for your information. While we're here talking about math, I'm going to pause and talk about myself for a second for the quiz for bonus points. One of my favorite desserts also is cookie dough, just raw cookie dough. I know some of you might think that's disgusting, but I love it. Cookie dough is amazing. All right, so looking at our parallelogram and our triangles, this is just showing you again why the base times height divided by 2 formula works. Don't worry about recording any of this. It's just, just another visual for you. That it says what's the area of the triangle outlined in red. So it's again just giving you the base and the height. And again, they're not quite drawn out when I copied over it. Sorry about that. So don't worry about this slide. So find the area of the following triangle. So the base is 25, the height is 30. We know the height is 30 because that's where the right angle is coming off of. So we do base times height, so 25 times 30, and you are writing this down, 25 times 30 divided by 2, because we don't want, right now it's just 30 times 25, which means it's a rectangle, and that's not what we're trying to find the area of. We're trying to find the area of a triangle. So when we do base times height and we divide it by 2, that's getting us back down to this figure and not this, this invisible part right here. So it'll be 750 divided by 2, and that'll be 375 feet squared. And again, you have to put the square feet because it's square units covering this triangle. Another thing before we continue on, I have also visited Germany on the way to Belarus. We stopped in Germany for a couple of days and got a tour around the city. It's a beautiful place in Frankfurt. So back to the formula, we have base times height divided by 2. So again, our base is 3 and our height is 5. The height is not 7. The 7 is not on a right angle. The 5 is on a right angle, so that's where the height is. But because when we do 3 times 5, again, that's giving us basically the formula for our rectangle. This is not a rectangle, so we have to then divide by 2. So 3 times 5 divided by 2. And again, you are writing down this information. So the final answer is 7.5 inches squared. So looking at this on a grid, it says find the fall area of the triangle. So you can see that it is 6 units across. It is 3 units tall. Again, on the right angle. You have to make it a right angle to find the height. You can't just say, oh, let me just make up my own. It's got to be a right angle made. So base times height is 6 times 3 divided by 2. And then 18 divided by 2 is going to be 9 units squared. And again, we have another area. So base times height, or with our 6 units wide, 6 units tall. So this time, since it didn't clarify whether it was centimeters or inches, it's just units. So make sure you say units squared if you don't know what the unit is. You don't have to write this page down. And then we have another example. If you wanted to try this one on your own, you could. So we have 4 units across, 5 units tall. So it'll be 4 times 5 divided by 2. Again, you don't have to write this one down. The last thing I want to tell you about myself before I let you go on to the next video is in my free time, I love to play tennis. I think most of you already know that, but I love to play tennis in my free time.